Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon. I'm talking about the movies, shows, whatever the case may be, I guess you can say. So here we are, I suppose. Alright, I got some other topic to talk about here. More news or whatever. Everybody's gonna call it that anyway. Anywho, I'm talking about a film I've already reviewed. So yeah, this is not gonna be a review, folks. Just looking back at what some people thought about the movie, I guess you can say, and it's weird, it's really odd. But anyway, point being is that this film was heavily criticized because by some parents because it was supposedly embracing this, like something about periods.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
What? You watched the same movie as I did, right? Oh boy. But yeah, apparently there's an inappropriate scene in the movie. Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean by that? Oh boy, I think they missed the idea here of what they were aiming for. I know they're referring to this. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. The idea here is that the mother's been socially incompetent. Yeah, when you think about it, that's what it is. And then there's this, and which is also pretty stupid in some ways because if anything, even this right here misses the point because it's trying to shift the blame to somebody else some ways, and that's what you came up with. That is what came into your mind. What? And if I wanted to, yeah, I can. I actually bought a new copy, by the way, and from Amazon. Yeah, guys, I actually got this not that long ago. So if I feel like it, I can actually go to some place like Rasputin if I want to take star credit, maybe get another LGBT flag and save the money, or just get another Disney movie if I feel like it. So, okay, point being is that yes, my copy, I'm gonna do whatever I want with it. Yeah, so it's not like I'm trying to interpret something a certain way and whatnot. Not like how these people are doing it. And yeah, and this red bear, the fact that the main character transforms into this bear is somehow a metaphor for her period? Okay. This is really awkward. And by her look, she's about what, maybe in middle school, so maybe I'll say 13, I guess. And for this kind of thing, typically women, I mean, excuse me, young women, would have their periods around what, 12? Unless they're like a late bloomer. Not that I'm judging. Not that I'm judging. But yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's a normal thing, sure. But again, it's really cringe that some of these, okay, a lot of these parents actually thought of this. This is what came to mind. Did we really see the movie? What? That's not what the movie's focusing on, like at all, whatsoever. That's, I mean, you say it's about self-discovery. It's about like a coming of age kind of a thing. I can say that. That's what this movie's centered around. Those are the themes in the movie. Not what you're talking about. Ugh. Yes, even if there's some jokes about some thing, yes, that's in the movie. But that doesn't mean that's what the movie's about. That doesn't mean that's what the point of the film is. Oh boy. Could you imagine how awkward it would also be if they also start talking about buying her first bra? Is that what's next you can talk about? Oh boy, just no, that's not what's going on here, like whatsoever. So yeah, of course, a lot of people start talking about this kind of thing. Like really, again, this this is what you got in mind. This is what came to your mind. What? This is awkward. Ugh. Again, did we see the same movie? Really, did we see the same movie here? Are people trying to treat this as some sort of educational movie kind of a thing? Is that what it is? I'm wondering because literally none of this makes any sense. Oh boy, I'm so confused about this. That film is not about, it's not about periods, like at all, whatsoever. I don't get this. I really don't. Like at all. Just bizarre. Like out of all the things people came up with, it was that. Why? Oh yes, kids out there, certain age, like 13, maybe 12, I guess. 12 or 13, that sounds about right. Should learn about certain things about the body is okay, but that's not what the movie's doing. And but it's just no. All right, this article right here should what? It kind of goes into what I was just saying a moment ago. And it wasn't specifying gender because, yes, both genders should learn about this kind of thing, sure. And then this article goes on to say something about a hot tub, somebody has ejaculated into it, and something about tampons are only for women who had sex. I think somehow all of this is tied into what maybe pregnant women. And okay, talking about jumping the gun here. What does any of this have to do with anything? I don't see the connection here. Like, at all. I am so. What? Yeah, as if to pretty much counter many myths, if you want to call them, about, um, some fun time between adults, like someone ejaculating into a tampon and then somehow a woman would get pregnant from that. But, okay, yes, there's lots of misconceptions about sex. That is true, and I do mean a lot of them. Yeah, that's correct. Yes, that's true. But what does that got to do with the movie, though? What does any of this have to do with the movie? I'm confused. And yes, of course, there were some positive responses from people. So I guess good for you, I suppose. I still find it rather odd. Out of all the subjects they could bring about when it comes to this film, it had to be this. Yes, and I keep seeing this pretty much all over the place, again and again and again. And they couldn't be more wrong. Out of what? That one joke? Again, she was supposed to be incompetent anyway, socially speaking. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, this scene I just made a reference to a moment ago. The mother is socially awkward. Of course, she's gonna make mistakes. And but I don't know. I know again, some people did take it as a positive thing, but you're still wrong. You're still wrong, and you're still wrong. Just I don't know. It makes no sense. I mean, what? How is the mother being socially awkward, socially incompetent means that? How does that equal to that? It was just meant as a joke. And then, of course, there'll be other articles that would kind of tackle this kind of a thing as well, and compare it to some other things because they took it as if it was actually true. It was actually talking about that in some sort of way. Again, I'm wondering, did we see the same movie? I don't think we did, like at all.
Oh, bang, bang, I'm losing it!
Of course, when you're going to a certain age, you're that young and whatnot, you realize that she's a certain age, middle school. And yes, at that age, things are already awkward as it is. Understandably so, sure. There's a lot of firsts, plenty of firsts you're going to experience. Yes, of course, it's going to be awkward. Yes, of course, you're going to have a lot of moments that's cringe. Well, yes, there are awkward moments like this in the movie. That's true, but it's again taken out of context. Yeah, the girl, the main character, made a drawing about this individual that she has a crush on. This guy, and it just seems like they were intentionally misinterpreting the situation here. That's not what this is about. The joke here is that the mother is misinterpreting the situation. The guy that the daughter has a crush and has no idea what's going on. He has no idea that she has a crush on him. But mommy over here thinks that this guy that she has a crush on, she assumed that he's up to something to her, something bad, whatever that may be, and she got upset. That's the joke. It just let people, like I said, people are intentionally misinterpreting this thing. So it's like everybody's misinterpreting everything. I don't get it. I mean, yes, the mother shouldn't be assuming, which makes her seem like a bit of an idiot. But it goes into what I just said earlier. She's socially awkward, socially awkward, socially awkward, socially awkward. That's the joke. Ugh. I mean, yes, I understand that if somebody's daughter will ask somebody's mommy about, you know, certain body changes, because they know the mommy would know about this because she experienced it firsthand. But that's not what the scene is about. Like body fluids and whatnot. Of course, the mother would know that. Oh, yeah, she would. But again, that's not what the scene is about at all. You know, be 12 and 13. It's because the bear is red, isn't it? It's because of that. Like, somehow that means a period right there somehow. And you can do some, some weird stuff. Some dorky, nerdy stuff. Of course you would. It's a part of childhood. It's a part of growing up. Yes, that would happen. And then once you're like 20 years old, maybe 25 or 30, you just reflect back on your life back then. You're just gonna laugh. You're just gonna laugh, of course. I mean, I do have to admit that the sex education in America, in a lot of schools anyway, is terrible. You don't learn jack shit. At least not the really important stuff anyway, when I think about it. And that in itself sounds like a whole separate video because there's a lot wrong here. And then do mean a lot. Not even the condoms are really appropriate, really, when you think about it. I mean, granted, yes, there'll be the religious folks that will get mad at this, and a lot of parents had, but come on, how cringy you were back then. That's not really nothing shameful, of course, of course, to, of course, that's not a bad thing, of course. Okay, I can't believe I have to say this, but as it wasn't obvious enough, no, no, I'm not period shaming either. The film never, just again, for those who have not seen the movie, for anyone who have not seen the film, obviously, there's going to be a time where it's about self discovery. Who are you as a person? How do you fit in the world? Who do you want to be? Do you have any dreams? What do you want to do in high school? What do you want to do after high school? There's so many questions about life itself, and yeah, things will get complicated and get complicated further. How do you deal with certain issues in your life? How do you deal with change? So there's a lot of things to think about. No, 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 no. The film does not talk about periods whatsoever. Yeah, it's quite clear that the entire intent of the film just flew over their head. Like they couldn't understand it. It's either they didn't understand it at all, or they intentionally misread the entire thing. Yeah, I'll say it's one or the other, depending on who you're talking to, I guess. But that's not what they're aiming for, like at all. Yes, of course. Like I was saying, the film does handle talking about some subject matters, like having disagreements with your mother and one. Of course, you can be in the age where you can be rebellious and whatnot. Yeah, this has to be one of the most awkward topics I have to speak about when it comes to these kinds of stuff. And one thing that's definitely has to be a part of the discussion where you have to talk about cramps. Yeah, these can be extremely painful. And yeah, it's the time of the month, of course, and cramps are a part of the pain, of course. And yeah, do you really want to discuss this kind of a thing in the movie? And yes, of course, it's something not everybody wants to talk about. And don't take this wrong way, of course. It's not something that I'm trying to say it's unnatural. That's not what I'm trying to get at here, of course. And yes, having this stuff is not in itself unnatural. It happens. It's completely necessary for the human body to experience this kind of stuff. So yeah, that's not what I'm getting at. All right, of course. But yes, it's obviously one of the most awkward things you can talk about, especially in the public, especially when somebody has their daughter and a mother has to talk about this kind of a thing. And yes, how do you talk to this about your daughter or daughters, assuming you have more than one? And of course, there might be a certain time, a certain topic you have to talk about this kind of stuff. Eventually, it's going to happen. You have to go to the store and eventually just find the right thing, the right size. And it's not some, how do I put this? It's not a one size fit all. No pun intended. Because what I'm saying is that, yeah, of course, it comes in a variety of sizes, and we're referring to pads, of course. But also, I'm not sure how I'm explaining it right. Different women would experience this kind of stuff differently. Is what I'm getting at. Of course, it's Everybody, all these women will have to obviously experience it in their own way and handle these things in their own way. In case something might arise, what if you have an affection or something? So yeah, that's something different to talk about. This you want this to be an animated movie of all things, and you're gonna be in an age where you might get curious about life. You become more self-aware about life. You're gonna become more aware of the surroundings. There's more people in this world than just your parents. There's more people in this world than just your friends. Yes, it's gonna be frightening. Yes, it's gonna be scary. Yes, yes, it will. You're not gonna stand a whole lot of stuff. Of course, yeah, that will happen. It's okay to be scared. It's okay not to be okay. And of course, you're gonna have a lot of questions, and that's fine. You have to learn anyway. You have to learn and adapt anyway. It's a part of growing up, and there's no shame in that whatsoever. But again, that's what they got from this. This thing. Of all things you could have got from the movie, it's this. I don't get it. I don't get any of this. Just no. Anyway, just I do want to scratch my head and whatnot. Just like I said, folks, that's not what the film is trying to do and whatnot. So when it comes to female, yeah, and of course there's going to be competing brands on different versions of some brands as well. Puberty and whatnot. It's not trying to say female puberty. It's not trying to treat it as if something to be embarrassed, of course, or be embarrassed about. And yeah, it's just trying to, I guess, if anything, it's trying to normalize. Another topic of discussion is about the fact that you may have accidents. The way people will act, of course, of course, you could be changing. Yes, your body will change. Of course, it's not going to be the way it was when you're like, what, 8 years old, 9, 10. Of course, it's not going to be the way it was back then, obviously. And again, that's completely normal. Yeah, again, what movie did you see, really? Did you see the same movie? So, as mentioned a while ago, folks, this has been getting a mixed response, some negative and some positive. And I guess it just depends on who you come across this when it comes to this topic right here. Oh boy, just this is no, this is makes me feel uncomfortable. Yes, of course, you do have to consider the fact that when it comes to this type of conversations, it's going to vary from culture to culture. Not everybody's going to talk about this the same exact way. Yeah, it's really awkward. It's really awkward. This also, even if that was the end goal here, which I don't think it was, but even if it were, uh, I didn't see it. I didn't see that. If that was the case, then it just has something to do with the bad writing. Then the writing must have been really awful because I did not see that in this movie at all. I know I keep saying the same thing, folks. Excuse me for that. It just boggles my mind that this kind of a thing. Yeah, before anyone says anything in the comment section, yeah, I do realize I haven't really gone into, I guess, too much detail when it comes to periods themselves. But I ever wanted to, I could have gone a whole other thing with that, discussing a lot of stuff. So yes, I do realize I haven't brought up like a lot. I'm doing a lot of stuff when it comes to this kind of a thing. So yes, before anyone starts saying anything that oh I didn't mention this, I didn't mention that, or this or that. Yes, I know, I'm aware I didn't bring up like every little thing when it comes to this kind of stuff. I realize that. I know. Now, this video is already long enough as it is, and if I want to bring up more into it, probably would make it get even longer. There's just so much to discuss here, is what I'm getting at. There's also going to be way too much to talk about, even with the movie. How do you address this kind of a thing anyway? And yeah, there's obviously going to be quite a bit to bring up without making it seem like so in your face about it. So apparently, this film does flip the script on everything that's considered to be acceptable and polite in Asian culture or something. And because that's more what this movie's trying to do, I guess. I mean, yes, the characters, well, at least the main character and her family, anyway, are yes of Asian descent, and that's fine. And I thought that's pretty interesting. And they have their own culture, and that's fun. And they have their own ways to adapt to certain situations. Yes, our main character is supposed to be like a dorky, nerdy, Unfortunately, yes, in many of the Western countries where, yeah, this kind of a topic is still too much of a, taboo. So, yes, many young women will tend to pretty much consider the fact that they may have uh, going this kind of experience, and yes, struggle to ensure that they can give an appropriate approach and how go to some places to reach the proper education. And yes, getting the proper education for this kind of a thing is in itself a struggle. But it's going to be really awkward in a lot of ways, like I keep saying over and over again. But like I mentioned previously in this video, yes, the thing is that we have to talk about the pregnancy and whatnot. The sex education in a lot of schools in this country is just downright terrible. So, unfortunately, people might get the wrong ideas about this kind of a thing and not try to approach it. A 13-year-old uh, Chinese individual who is silly and wants to be social, even though she might be awkward at times, which she is in the movie. The film displays that. It's not that there haven't been any effort to discuss this kind of a thing around the world, because there clearly has. And just to discuss these kinds of topics, to have the proper education so that people can actually learn and not be ignorant on the matter about the women's bodies and what time of the month they have to go through and these kinds of stuff, of course. And but soon she has to live a double life when she gets home and she discovers the fact that she's gonna join this panda thing. She has to balance to her desire to be rebellious with the cultural traditions that's been long passed down in her, I guess, strong-willed mother and the whole family before that. Of course, this also includes the idea that being respectful to elders, doing what you're told, and being super strict or whatever. But this is supposed to be a new generation, and things are changing. But all right, folks, I just stop here because this is incredibly dumb. But anyway, folks, I appreciate the view. Thanks for watching. And again, why does Backer want to help people? I was gonna roll a long time ago for her. Ugh. Later.